He thought it was just another ordinary day in a quiet small town in America. The kind of day where nothing ever really changes. The kind of day you forget the moment it ends. But that day started with a smile that would change everything. A smile so warm, so innocent, it felt like kindness itself had walked into his life. He didn't know it yet, but that smile was the beginning of something that would break him in ways he never imagined. And the strange part? He would still remember it as both the most beautiful and the most painful moment of his life. Before we begin, if you believe in stories that touch the heart and show the power of kindness, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, like this video, and comment where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more real-life inspired emotional stories that matter. Now, let's begin. His name was Daniel Harper, a 32-year-old warehouse worker living in Ohio. He wasn't rich, wasn't famous, and wasn't chasing anything big. His life was simple. Work, home, sleep, repeat. But Daniel had one thing that made him different: he still believed in kindness. Even after life had been rough on him. One rainy afternoon, Daniel stopped at a small local café after work. He was tired, soaked from the rain, and just wanted a warm cup of coffee before heading home. That's when he saw her. A woman behind the counter. Calm eyes. Gentle expression. And a smile that felt strangely personal, like she already knew him. When she handed him his coffee, she said softly, "You look like you've had a long day. I hope tomorrow is kinder to you." That was it. Just a sentence. Just a smile. But something inside Daniel shifted. He came back the next day. And the next. Not for the coffee, but for her smile. Her name was Emily Carter. Emily was kind in a way that felt rare. She listened when he talked. She remembered small details. She asked him about his life like she actually cared. For Daniel, who was used to being invisible, it felt like breathing again after drowning. Weeks passed. Then months. Daniel started believing he had finally found something real. But life has a strange way of testing people when they feel safest. One evening, Emily wasn't at work. Instead, a different barista handed Daniel his coffee. The mood in the cafe felt off. People were whispering. Someone mentioned Emily's name with concern. Daniel asked what happened. The barista hesitated, then said, "She got into trouble. Serious trouble. Something about missing money from the cafe's accounts, and your name came up too." Daniel froze. It didn't make sense. He had never touched anything. Never even been in the back office. But the next few days turned into a nightmare. Police came to question him. His workplace started looking at him differently. Someone had reported that Daniel and Emily were close, and that he might be involved. And the worst part? Emily didn't defend him. She didn't say anything at all. The same woman who once smiled like he mattered, now avoided his eyes. That silence broke him more than the accusation. Within a week, Daniel lost his job. People in town started treating him like he was guilty. Rumors spread faster than truth ever could. He stopped going out. He stopped answering calls. His small life collapsed piece by piece. All because of a smile he once trusted. Months passed. Daniel lived in isolation. Bills piled up. Savings disappeared. The world that once felt simple now felt cruel. He replayed every moment in his head, trying to understand where he went wrong. Why her? Why him? Why kindness if it could turn into something like this? One evening, while walking past the old cafe he used to visit, he saw it again. Still open. Still warm lights inside. And there she was. Emily. Standing outside, not smiling this time. Just looking lost. Different. Broken in a way that mirrored his own pain. For a moment, their eyes met. Daniel wanted to walk away. He wanted to hate her. He wanted to remember everything she did to him. But something stopped him. Not forgiveness. Not yet. Just curiosity. He crossed the street. Emily's voice trembled when she spoke. "I didn't think I'd ever see you again." Daniel replied coldly, "You didn't defend me." She looked down. "I couldn't," she whispered. "Because I was scared." That answer didn't fix anything. It only opened the wound wider. She explained everything slowly. The cafe owner had framed her after she discovered financial theft. When things went wrong, he twisted the story and included Daniel's name to protect himself. Emily had been threatened into silence. She had lost her job, her reputation, her stability, everything. Just like Daniel. But the difference was, she still carried guilt. I smiled at you, she said softly, tears forming, because you were the only person who made me feel safe. And then I watched your life fall apart because of something I didn't stop. Silence stretched between them. Pain sat on both sides. Not innocence. Not guilt. But another human being destroyed by the same storm. In the weeks that followed, something unexpected happened. Daniel didn't forgive her immediately. Healing doesn't work that way. But he also didn't walk away. Instead, they started talking again. Slowly. Carefully. Like two people learning to breathe after drowning. Together, they gathered evidence. Together, they fought to clear their names. It wasn't easy. The truth rarely is. But kindness, real kindness this time, showed up in unexpected places. A former employee came forward. Records were reviewed. The real fraud was exposed. The cafe owner was arrested. And just like that, the weight Daniel had carried for months began to lift. But what surprised him most wasn't justice. It was change. He didn't return to his old life. That life was gone. But he rebuilt something new. Not alone this time. Emily didn't ask for forgiveness anymore. She just showed up every day, helping him rebuild piece by piece. Not because she had to. But because she needed to make things right in the only way she could. And Daniel. He slowly learned something important. Kindness can hurt you when it's broken by lies. But it can also heal you when it's rebuilt with truth. Months later, Daniel stood outside a different cafe. New town. New beginning. Emily was beside him. This time, when she smiled, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't innocent. It carried weight. Real weight. But it was honest. And that made all the difference. Daniel looked at her and said, "You didn't break my life." She looked confused. He continued, "The lie did. But the truth rebuilt it." In the end, their story wasn't about betrayal. It wasn't even about loss. It was about how fragile kindness can be when the world twists it, and how powerful it becomes when it survives the storm. Because sometimes, the people who hurt us aren't just villains. They're just people who are also broken. And sometimes, healing begins not with forgetting the pain, but with choosing not to pass it on. So if you're watching this, remember this simple truth. A smile can start a story. But only kindness can finish it. And if you hold on to that kindness, even after everything breaks, you might just rebuild a life stronger than the one you lost.